Hello, this is Neil from MasterPaintingNow.com, and so the tutorial here is going to be about how to get smooth lines. And if you haven't done so already, please watch my tutorial on the basics of drawing with a pencil, because that's kind of like a prerequisite to this here. So there's a couple techniques to use. The first technique is using, I'm trying to get this piece of paper to work for me because I only got two left, is using your fingers only. And so using your fingers, you do little flicks. You can do straight lines, you can also pull towards yourself. When I practice doing straight lines, this is for doing like little hairs, little lines, little circles, and so forth. The other technique is using your wrist, just your wrist, and it's always going to give you an arching motion. This is more limiting and only going to be used here and there. The next one is using your whole arm. So it's using, for horizontal lines, it's mainly using your elbow. Oops. Okay, I'm used to sitting down, I'm not used to standing up and drawing. The next is vertical lines, and that's where you use mostly your shoulder, and so you're pulling the line straight down. The other way to draw also is, this way here, and I am not used to drawing vertically, as you can see. But let me see. Oh, let's try some horizontals. Maybe I can do better with that. A little bit better. If you see my other pencil tutorial, you know I can draw nice straight lines, but just standing up is difficult to draw. I'm not used to it. So maybe I should practice it more because it's kind of enjoyable. Anyway, so these are techniques to use, and what I want you to do real quick to prove to yourself you can do a smooth line is grab your pencil, put it to paper, don't let it up, and just randomly draw some sort of squiggly shape. And notice how smooth all your pencil lines look. Now try to draw a smooth circle. What you're probably going to do is do something like this, and it's going to be really sketchy. And it's going to be slow as heck. You're going to try to go like that. Something along those lines to get a smooth circle. And it's not going to look very good. Now try using this technique, using your whole arm. So your fingers are staying locked, your wrists are staying locked, you're using your elbow and your shoulder. And just lightly go around. You don't have to do it standing up, you can also do this sitting down. And just keep going until you see like a circle, and then kind of, oops, this paper is really irritating me. And you kind of go like that. Now I'm at a weird angle, I'm trying to stay out of the camera, so this is probably looking more elongated this way. To me, it looks more like a circle because I'm at a weird perspective. I'm viewing at this long angle here. If I were right in front of it like this and drawing, then I can tell, okay, that looks more like an egg than it does an oval. So I'm going to put this back up here, and now I got a flat piece of paper over it. So now let's go ahead and begin using these techniques. So we start out and we sketch. You don't have to draw like this. How you hold your pencil doesn't matter too much. If you want to know, I recommend holding it choked up more, whether you're sitting down and drawing or standing up and drawing. Hold it down here more. But how you hold it doesn't matter too much, but I would watch my pencil tutorial and see that I recommend holding it like that when you're sitting down and drawing. I recommend holding it like this or like this when you stand up drawing. Right, so the first thing we do is we're going to lightly sketch out a circle here. And I'm trying to get as close as I can to the page but out of the camera so I could see this with a better perspective. That way it doesn't come out too wide. Because if I'm way over here on the left side and looking at an angle like this, it's going to look normal to me, but it's going to be very wide when I look at it straight on. And that's why it's important to have a good straight on view when you're drawing. So if you're drawing and you're sitting down drawing, and this is the table you're drawing on, and it's flat, you want to make sure you put like a book or something down and have your artboard like this. So your artboard's at a slight angle. The reason why is that you, the viewer, have a more straight on view of what you're drawing. When it's on the table like that, you don't have a straight on of a view, and so you get things that look longer than they ought to be. And if you're at a weird angle like I am, standing up, I'm looking way over here, I got this weird angle here, so everything's going to look wider once I view it from the front. Now viewed from this angle, sure, it looks awesome. It looks like a nice, perfect circle and everything, but when viewed from straight on, it won't. Alright, so right now I'm just demonstrating the technique of getting smooth lines, so I'm not going to describe really so much about how I'm drawing the face here, the construction lines and all that. If you want to know how to do that, then I recommend getting either my head course or check out some of my head tutorials. Of course, my head courses would be the best way to learn it. And so notice all my lines, even when I'm sketching, are nice, are clean. They might overlap and stuff, but they're clean. They're not this. I'm not doing it like this. That's not sketching, that's scribbling. And it's not going to look nearly as neat, especially if you're trying to draw like a circle like this. It's not going to look nearly as neat. It's going to look all scratchy and stuff. So, but if you have purpose of your lines. You know, it's very quick, but it's smooth, it's relaxed. When you're drawing a gesture, you know, of a person, boom, you have the head here, you have the back arm, the front arm coming up this way. You know, it's still, and then the leg, one leg coming out this way, other leg coming back this way. It's very sketchy, but not scratchy. So it's quick, but every line is defined. I'm not using my finger, I'm using my whole arm to draw with. And then I would come in here and go, okay, I know I got the back here, and that back shoulder would be viewable a little bit, the neck, trapezius, you know, coming down, shoulder blade, shoulder muscle, bicep, elbow. And even from this point on, the latissimus dorsi, from this point on, everything is still, and the buttocks back here, is still being drawn with purpose. That leg might be foreshortened a little bit, this leg longer, and I'll come down this way. And I start to correct the shape, you know, trying to get more of the focus of the person there. Your torso is a little too high, I should have started way up here more for the buttocks. You know, but it's not for accuracy. When you throw down the movement, you're trying to just capture the movement, and so it's quick lines. And then at this point here, when you get to this stage, this is where you get go for more accuracy. But still, every movement that I'm making, maybe draw that leg back there more and the foot down like this. Every movement I'm making there is with purpose. I'm gonna go check the camera, make sure it's still recording, because I've recorded this already like 10 times and something always went wrong and stopped recording on me. And so that would be the ground plane here. Every stroke is with purpose, and it's not to look scratchy. Next thing I'm going to do is to place in like the eyebrows. I'm going to have the eyebrows somewhere in this area here. It's just simple marks. You need about an eye length apart. And notice it's individual clean lines. You know, I'm not doing this. You know, I'm not scratching. I'm not scribbling. Make sure every line has, even in the sketching stage, every line has a purpose. You know, so I'm pulling them with purpose. Make sure I keep this. I'll come down with the cheek. I'm going to kind of tighten it up a little bit here now. Make it less wide. My mouth, I want it to come somewhere in this area here. I'm going to get big lips. Get a smaller chin. So in this stage, I can always come back in and recorrect stuff here. Maybe go a little bit further down this way. Keep the horizontal lines in mind. And then hairline, maybe come a little bit looser. Ears, just kind of put where they're going to be. Hairs are coming this way. Right, so that would be like a quick sketch. And so every line, if the lines aren't like that, every line has movement and purpose, so I can see where I'm going, what I want to do. Then I come back in with a neat eraser and get rid of lines that I don't need anymore. Like, okay, so those lines were just made to come to the sketch. And I did little corrections and things like that. I need to recorrect the eye. I find it easier to draw, like I said, sitting down. Right, something like that. So let me go and look at it more in the front view, make sure I'm not getting too wide. It's looking alright. Okay, so once you have your sketch laid down, even if you have to still sketch, you know, all like sloppy like that, it's fine. If that's the only way you can manage to sketch, you just can't get to the point where you're just sketching with your arm, you know, without moving your fingers or your wrist. Your wrists and fingers are locked, and you're just using your arm to, you know, sketch with. But still practice sketching that way, because eventually you'll get it. But for now, if all you can do is that way, then fine, sketch that way, whatever way you sketch. And then after you have it down, go ahead and use your kneaded eraser and just kind of pull it off, just lift it off the page. And that way you can come back in and using techniques you can make it look better, make it look smooth. So for the eyes, they're small lines. I can actually use finger techniques. So I can just come in. But notice, every stroke is deliberate with the finger technique. So when I'm doing it, I'm being careful to flow. I'm going to kind of come. Then I can also come in with the flat part of my pencil. This is a clutch pencil, for those that might be wondering. So add a little bit of tone to the eyebrows. Maybe a little bit of tone in here to the eyes as well. Especially the top part of the eye here. And where the eyelid's going to be. Eyelid meaning the eye crease, you know, where your eyelid retracts into. So for small things like that, a lot of the lines that are small like that, I use my fingers, and I've been practicing like that a lot, so it's pretty easy for me to get nice smooth lines. For longer lines though, I'm going to use, you know, more of the whole arm technique, you know, especially for the jaw here. But there's also like connect the dot idea, so you don't have to be so daunted by a line and be like, well, you know, doing this line like this, for example, and I'm using my whole arm, my wrist and fingers are staying locked. Notice I don't have to go fast, I can still go slow and get that line. Standing up like this though is a little hard for me to get the smoothest lines as I want. Now for this line here, I can do a couple of practice strokes and then just pull it across. And then got the line. You can also connect the dots, say, oh, that's just it just seems too complex to do that whole line, so I'm going to break it up. I'm going to go from here to here. And I can use whatever technique I want to use to get from there to there. I can use my fingers, get from there to there. And then I still need to make from here to here. Say I'm going to use my fingers again. I'm going to start with the line. I'm going to go lightly. Then I'm going to push harder as I pull away from the line. The problem with that technique is sometimes you can see the connecting points, and so you might have to go over it a couple times to hide that or make it look smooth. And then for this here, let's say I want to use my whole arm approach, like that. And that's how you're going to get the smoothest lines, is using your whole arm approach for longer lines. And the connecting points, you know, you can use just like lightly try to connect it to where it's hard to see the connection area. And that's the downside of the connect the dot type technique. And then I like using this more smooth technique like this here. Now of course using this technique, what you're gonna find yourself having to do is practice a lot. So a way to practice is to have your sketch down and then just run a few practice strokes. So you go, okay, I know I want the line to go like that, and just like a few practice strokes and get it really lightly down there, and then trace over it. You know, take your time. You don't have to go fast. The earlobe is here. Nothing says you have to pull the lines fast. You can pull the lines slow and still get nice, clean lines. Right? And you can continue, you know, filling in this with tone and all that stuff. I'm not going to do a finished drawing, just give you an idea. I'm going to look at the camera to make sure it's good. Okay? And over here, drawing this eye, you can use your finger as a thing. Let me cut my nails a little long right now. Just notice that. And here I'm using my whole arm to do this. I'm not just. And you know, this eye is a little different than that eye because I prefer this style better. I don't know why I did that eye like that. I can still use that, you know, finger technique over there to get the eye. Of course, since I have sharper lines, so I have to go back and sharpen those lines as well. But still, everything is done the same. That is, you're doing one smooth stroke. You can go back over your stroke. One thing to definitely practice when you're drawing is to not lift your pencil off the page. So if I need to go over here, make a line like that, and just do it so light that it doesn't show up. If it shows up a little bit, that's fine, you can erase it. But again, the technique I recommend practicing is your whole hand movement. So instead of just using your wrist or anything like that, try using your whole hand. Your whole hand, your whole arm to do the whole arm movement instead of just the hand. And this side over here is still different. That's fine. I actually meant to make this more straight anyway. And I can easily correct that by just adding makeup to the bottom and add makeup to the top of this one. And maybe add some eyelashes. And you can make it, you don't have to get like, you can go more cartoon-like, so you don't have to get all realistic with it. And then take a kneaded eraser, and you come in here and start lifting that up a little bit, get that highlight in there. Little flick technique, finger flicks to do some of the little details in the eyebrows. You can look back at a distance here, and it's starting to come together. For the lips, I might use like the flick technique for the top part of the lip, and pull it down over here to make a. So what I'm doing is I'm seeing where I'm going with my lines. I gotta go from here to here. I'm connecting those imaginary dots, and I'm just pulling a straight line. So if you practice all these techniques, like all the techniques I show in my basic pencil tutorial, which is drawing with straight lines. So the techniques is doing your straight lines like this with your whole arm, doing your straight lines at angles and all sorts of ways with your fingers, doing little circles and little curves and little shapes like S shapes and stuff like that, and filling a page full of that, and filling a page full of circles and ellipses and so forth. You use these techniques, these 3 techniques, and then your wrist technique too, filling up pages of arches, and you can successfully nail all those down. Then you do like a free flow line like this, really lightly. Then you want to go back over it again, and the technique is to practice going back over this again and tracing it. And this, I can't do it because I got this right here, so I'm going to do it up here. I guess go like this, and then you want to trace it, so go back in, and again, I'm at a weird angle here, and my arm's starting to hurt from having it up like this. But anyway, you get the idea. If you can do that, then once you have a sketch, you can come back in and okay, I got to get the line right here. That's where I want the line to be. Then you know that you can capture, you can get that line there, and see that the eyes are way offset here. They're totally wrong. And to me, it looked right. I should have done measurements because I know I'm at a weird perspective here. I got to go even on each side of this line here. So I'm going to go here and here. I need to do that. And just go ahead and pull those eyes back in here again. I'm like a perfectionist like that, and so I can't stand it looking that way. I'm going to make her eyes a little more closed this time. It might look like I'm scribbling, but I'm actually not. I'm pulling everything with the lines in the directions I want them to go. Just being a little more careless with it, but not scribbly. I just want to get something down there really quick like. And man, every time I go back and look at it from the front, it's still not quite right. Oh well. Like just keep in mind that I'm at a very weird angle when I'm drawing here, and so it's throwing everything off to where I'm seeing this side a lot more than I'm seeing that side. So I have this slanted angle here, and so the eyes are coming out they're still not the equal distance. Like this is the center here, that center line right about here, and so there's still not the same distance between them. But it's getting closer. I have to erase this and move this over just a little bit, but I don't want to take the time to do that. Just a little bit of shading here, upper lip, Now in the bottom of the lip here is going to have your darkest shading. So I'm going to see if I come in here like this. All my darkest shading is going to be on the bottom of the upper lip. Now the reason why is from the side view, remember the lip, it comes out like this and comes in, right? From the side view, and then you have your bottom lip. So this part here, you got to keep in mind, so it's at an angle like this. It's at this slant. And because it has that slant going in, as it's going in, the bottom is furthest away from the light, so darkest, and it gets lighter and lighter as it comes toward the top. So to do that, to show that something is receding away from us in space, it's darker, right? So that's why the bottom part of the lip here gets dark. And then it gradually gets lighter as it comes toward the top of the lip, because that part is coming more and more toward us, see? This is more toward us. The front of the lip is more toward us than the middle part of the lip. So all this part here is the furthest part away from us. And that's why we do it that way. And the top lip's the same way. It comes out like this, and then so this top part here is closest to us, and the bottom part is furthest from us. So now it's the bottom that's going to get the darker shading. And then it's going to kind of come up like that, get more light as it goes up there. Alright, so I hope this was helpful. It's practicing those techniques and then executing them with your drawing. So do the sketch however you need to for now. Eventually when you get to the point where you can draw your sketch with decisive lines, and that way even your sketch, the lines will look smooth and they're not going to look scratchy. They're not going to look like scribbly. They're not going to look like that. However it is, all just mess full everywhere. It might look like a mess as far as a bunch of lines overlapping and stuff, but each line is going to have purpose and is going to have smoothness. And so the end result when you get down to drawing it is going to have a smoothness to it. She kind of reminds me of Laura Kropp for some reason. Maybe the big lips, wide lips, they're far out this way, I don't know. Just something quick I did from my mind, and unfortunately, not the best eyes there, sorry about that, but I would erase the eyes completely, but this paper is kind of cheap and it's going to be kind of hard to erase all that and make it look good still. Alright, so thank you for watching. Hopefully this shows up nice on there. It's a high definition camera, so I'm hoping it picks up everything pretty good so you can see all the lines, even the light lines. Again, the best way to see those lines is going to be in full screen and at high definition. Alright, thanks for watching.